Welcome everyone to the Be Invincible Podcast. Today we have an extraordinary guest with us, Batul, a content writer, a social media manager with over a great experience in corporate training and digital branding. So Batul's journey is about, it's really truly inspiring, and she's dedicated her career to helping small business build an impactful online presence and connect with their audiences meaningfully. Through her brand creative pathways, she crafts unique brand identity kits, creates engaging social media content, and drive digital strategies for brand aiming to make a difference, right? So why don't I ask Batul to introduce yourself, and maybe we can discuss what exactly she can bring today as a value for everyone who is watching this podcast today. So Batul, over to you. Why don't you introduce yourself?
Thank you, Ajinkya. That was such a nice introduction. Well, my name is Batul, and a big hi to all of your audience out there who are watching. Well, yes, as you rightly mentioned, I am a content creator. I write, copies. I'm also a, ad writer. I do blogging, articles. I also do social media management for small brands specifically because that's where really content, small brands require people like me to do their content for them,
Right.
engaging content really.
Right.
And apart from that, there are quite a few other things that I'm exploring. For example, I'm also a teacher.
Mhm.
So I'm right now working on making ebooks for children and integrating that as a part of learning for my for the kids that I teach.
Right.
So that's one thing that I'm working on. And creative pathways is a it's a brand. It's in the making really,
Yeah.
because we would like to ensure that as a brand we bring out the best creativity wise, to ensure that all the people out there who are looking for somebody who's creative at the same time, not somebody who's super expensive when it comes to their art or their creation or the content that they make, but
Right.
somebody who's budget friendly, somebody who can help them out. So yeah, that's who I am.
So welcome today for on today's Be Invincible podcast, Badal. You said that you're writing content for small businesses. Can you quickly talk about what are the common challenges these small business owners go through when they don't understand about content, and what is the value of content for them?
Absolutely. See, small businesses basically, they require, a platform where they can engage with their audience to be able to bring their brand's awareness amongst their audience.
Mhm.
And most of the brands now, the small brands that I'm talking about, the small business owners that I'm talking about, the basic challenge is that they are not very confident when it comes to putting out their content, whatever it is that they're making, with regards to their product or their services out
Mhm.
there in the in the internet field, internet medium. And that's one challenge. Apart from that, what business owners are also, they have constraints when it comes to their budget,
Mhm.
because they just started marketing their products and stuff like that. So when it comes to basically putting out a budget, like a huge budget for somebody who will make their content for them, and nowadays content marketing and content development is something that's expensive. It's an
Yeah.
expensive affair.
Right.
So it's not then what happens is basically the business owner has to leave aside his actual business, which is ensuring how his product and services are doing, and actually start concentrating on what exactly should he be putting out when it comes to his content on platforms.
Right.
So yeah, these are the top two challenges that I can think of at this point in time. I'm there are quite a few more as business owners. The I think the biggest challenge when it comes to content creation is that we don't they see they're not able to identify the trends that are currently going on.
Mhm.
So identifying the trends, also understanding their particular target audience, what kind of questions those audience are asking,
Mhm.
what is the problem really, to
Right.
identify those things and then create content which will engage the audience.
Right.
Yeah.
So what would you recommend? Like, for example, if there are like, if I'm a coach and I want to create content, right? What should I do as my step-by-step guidelines for creating content? What would you recommend?
See, first of all, understand, what exactly is your target audience's problems.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, whatever your brand is, based on that, first understand what the problems that your target audience is facing.
Okay.
Based on that, what kind of solution is your product really providing?
Okay.
Is your product providing the solution, that particular problem that your customer is facing? If yes, excellent, move on with the next step. What will you do? You will probably go on to um, use apps like Canva, because that's like something very very basic.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone out there is using Canva nowadays,
True.
and it's really very user friendly. Go on to Canva. There are lots of templates available based on what it is you want to put out. Okay, if you
Mm-hmm.
already have an Instagram account, if you already have a Facebook account, and you've been putting out your business's details already,
Mm-hmm.
start using these templates, which are very very creative. Put your problem statement, put the solution that your product provides, and write a nice catchy interesting line about your product.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, that's about it. That's really what the basic thing that any person can really do when it comes to putting their stuff out.
Right. I was just thinking about, like, for example, there are different types of content, right, Batul? What would you recommend? Like, initially, should I go with a long form text content, or maybe image or videos? Or people also want to start their YouTube channel, or maybe they want to they grow their business on Instagram, which is one of the highest performing platform for business owners, right? How
Right.
should they plan? Like, do you have any guidelines which they can think, at least, which people are watching today, or maybe later on if they watch, they should start thinking that, okay, if they want to grow their business, what should they do? Okay, the first thing you said, identify the target audience's problem and do your product solve their problem. Do you think that before that, should we also nail down our niche and then find the target audience? So I think I'm just trying to find out that pathway of content creation, which will help me grow my business and also my presence on social media, which is now the right way for digital business owners. What do you think?
You are absolutely right, Ajinkya. Niche is something that has to be identified. Okay, because without the niche, how would you really, cater to your audience?
Mm-hmm.
So, if let's say you are into, your product is into fashion and lifestyle,
Yeah.
okay, or you're into home decor,
Mm-hmm.
right? Or it could be, any other product. So first of all, understand that your target audience, okay, if it's, let's say, home decor, we are really looking at women,
Mm-hmm.
because they have the power to be, the spending power,
Right.
right? So we're looking specifically at women. So
Mm-hmm.
now our content really need to be based on and around what women really want,
Right.
okay, and
Mm-hmm.
what is it that they're facing when it comes to their day-to-day challenges.
Right.
Okay, that's the basic. Okay, moving on from there, once you've identified the niche, you go on. What you could do is, maybe create content calendar.
Mm-hmm.
Create a content calendar which will help you put in different kinds of content around your target audience.
Right.
Okay, when I say content calendar, I simply mean use some sort of a framework for your content calendar. um, Something as simple as, put inspiring content for women. Okay, put content which is, useful.
Right.
Give them tips
Mm-hmm.
and suggestions about how they can move around, things in their house, and how they can change the way the house looks if it's home decor.
Right.
Okay, stuff like that. And once you've done that, then I think you will start getting the attention that you are looking for. You start attracting traffic,
Mm-hmm.
and that's really what we want. We want engaging content to be going out and getting attention and traffic. once you get traffic, then you can, start posting even better content, even more, interactive content. You can put up quizzes, you can put up question answers, you could have live sessions. As you said,
Right.
YouTube is a great medium nowadays. YouTube is a wonderful medium to be able to put yourself out. And it's not necessarily, sometimes, what happens with people, they're very conscious when it comes to putting themselves out there, right?
True.
And not necessarily that you have to have a face out there. There are a lot of faceless YouTube content that's also going out, right?
True. True.
So this is where the content creator comes in. There's lots of UGC content that's being made, where
Yeah.
brands simply buy this particular content. The content creator creates it, it's their particular face, and the brand is using it. So
Right.
it's pretty simple and straightforward with UGC content.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I think you've digressed a little bit from your question. I hope
Yeah, yeah,
yeah.
you're bang on the question. But talking about the framework, right? When I create,
Hmm.
so let me also add to that point which you said, that you have to also create a framework. What I do is, I have a framework which is called PQRS framework. When I say PQRS framework, what I do is I identify what the problem the person has, right? What
Right.
question they have in their mind, that is Q. What roadblocks they have that they are not able to overcome that problem, that is R. And what solution they are expecting when they are looking out for results, right? So that is PQRS. This is what I'm actually trying to create a framework. Once I document everything, that 10 problems on my target audiences, what are the questions are there in the mind, what are the roadblocks, and is my product providing a solution or a result to those questions. Then, like, if I have 10 questions, I categorize them into different category. And then what I do is, like, for example, if I have 10 categories, I divide them into 10 different types of content. Like, for example, my personal story, industry standards, breaking the myths, old ways versus new ways, tools to how to, right? And behind the scenes, my day in life with that particular problem. So these are the way I actually create. Like, I have a 10 questions and 10 different categories, and then I have like 100 pieces of content. But I use these 100 pieces of content and convert them into like a different types of content. Could be text, videos, and images. So again, it becomes 300 pieces of content, which
Absolutely.
this is what I do for my content creation. So anyone who is watching this, when Batul talked about framework, you can think about your own framework when you're thinking
Hmm.
about your niche and creating your content. But according to your experience, Batul, what kind of clients you have experienced, you've worked with, and what kind of content struggle they are experiencing right now in the digital world?
Right. Just, before we answer this particular question,
Mhm.
since we spoke about frameworks,
Yeah,
I would like to give your audience a very simple and easy framework that they could do.
sure.
Somebody's a beginner and they're not very sure, how to make a content calendar, and
Yeah,
it could get a bit tricky. So
yeah.
something that they can just follow is something called as a AIDA framework. Okay, it's
Mhm.
AIDA.
Yeah.
Okay, A stands for attention,
Mhm.
I stands for interest, D stands for desire, and A stands for action. And when I talk about content, I could be talking about static content, carousels, I could be talking about flyers and posters, and I
Mhm.
could be talking about infographics.
Right,
Yeah, I could be talking about reels, Instagram reels, videos, all
right.
of that. Okay, YouTube videos and stuff like that.
Mhm.
Now, let me quickly tell you or take you through what these four things really mean.
Absolutely.
When I say attention, so what's important is to be able to capture your audience's attention with
Mhm.
eye-catching visuals, or some compelling headlines,
Okay.
right? Um, you could write something which is compelling, and also the visual that you use is eye-catching. Someone will look at it and be like, okay, this is interesting.
Mhm.
When it comes to interest, so we have to keep the interest of our audience by addressing their needs or presenting some interesting information about your product.
Right.
Desire, so you show your product or your service and how how it can improve their life or solve that particular problem. Okay, building a desire for them to actually buy the product or the
Mm-hmm.
service. And eventually, last point, which is very, very important, everybody who's venturing out and trying to make content, they need to know that there has to be some action that needs to be attached to the content that they're putting out, right? So it's very clear that at the end you have to have a call to action.
Right.
So what is it that you want your particular audience to do after they've seen this particular ad? So
Right.
I think it's a very, very simple framework: attention, interest, desire, and action. Keep these four things in mind and create the kind of content that you want to create, okay, using this framework. Keep it very simple. Uh, Find eye-catching visuals, write a line or two, not more than that, because we
Right.
don't want to fill a lot of information in the ads that we're putting out. Okay.
Right.
And I think action is very important. So make sure you have the action. The problem, of course, as you rightly mentioned, that is what you do as well. The
Right.
problem has to be there. And how is it that your product is providing the service? So these two things need to be kind of merged in with your headline as well. And keep the action simple. Get them to connect with you. Okay, get them on a, maybe ask them to maybe give them a discount, or whatever it is that you're really looking for them to do immediately. Okay.
Mm.
And that's how you do it.
So you're saying that you should also add an offer in your content? Is that what you want?
Absolutely. If you're a small business owner,
Mm-hmm.
you definitely should keep out some part of your marketing budget
Mm-hmm.
where you can give discounts, especially offers during seasonal offers, as we
Right.
say, or Diwali offers, as Diwali is coming. It's very shortly coming.
Yeah. Yeah.
So stuff like that.
Oh, that's interesting. So yeah, I think anyone who's watching this AIDA framework, which Batul just mentioned, is very simple and easy to implement. But I have a question. Is it like we have to use all these elements in a content, or every single step has a different type of content? Like attention will have a different type of content, interest will have a different type of content, desire will have a different type of content, and action, which is having a different type of content, or it's all together in one piece of content? What,
It's
how is
all
it?
together. It's all together. So any visual that you see next, okay, let's say if you see an ad on, let's say you see an ad on YouTube,
Mm-hmm.
you're specifically looking for these four things, okay.
Right.
In that ad, it needs to capture your attention. That's the reason why you're watching it. It could be
Right.
something which is compelling you to watch that, right? It could be a headline. It could be a very, very eye catching visual. It could be, let's say, a guy on a Saturday evening looking to party,
Right.
and stuff like that. Something as simple as that. When we talk about the other thing, all the elements need to be there, really.
Okay,
So it's
got it.
not separate. We don't
Mhm.
we don't want to break them down as such. We want to take them all together, which is why it's a framework.
Mhm.
And look at it, look at these things, or find these things in a particular compelling ad to say, okay, this is great content.
Right. Yeah, I think most of the people struggle with creating content right now. There are AI tools available. What would you recommend? What's your take on these AI tools and creating content using AI? Is it useful, or is it just mechanical words?
I honestly feel AI is very, very powerful. Okay. And anyone who wants to use AI definitely should go ahead and use AI. Okay.
Mhm.
They shouldn't stop themselves. They shouldn't get nervous around it. They shouldn't be feeling, oh, what can I do? I mean, I'm not too sure. Yeah.
Right.
Go ahead, start using AI in your day-to-day life. Okay.
Right.
Ask questions. See, over a period of time, you will start asking better questions. See, with AI, the important thing is to write very good prompts.
Right.
So if once you start using AI slowly and steadily based on the kind of content you want to create, you
Mhm.
will start writing better prompts.
Correct.
So the thing with AI is better prompts. For better prompts, start using it today. start getting into chat GPTs and all of that. Start asking questions. Not necessarily that you are going to be, using it 100%. You could just use the structure of how it's been created.
Right.
And you don't have to really copy paste, because most people do copy pasting.
Right.
But honestly, originality is something that you should, as a content creator, you should have. Okay, you can't be putting out AI created stuff as your own stuff.
Correct.
So AI is great. It's very interesting. It's a lot of fun. Okay, start with Chat GPT, and nowadays lots of stuff is available where it comes to AI. You just put out search in Google, and you come across so many different apps that are AI apps that can help you. There's Adobe, there's Firefly, right? So many things can be done with AI, but yeah, of course, the most important thing is the prompts.
Right. My next question is like, when we initially started talking about creating content, you said that identifying target audiences is very important and their problems. How is there any tool which people can use simply to identify what are the problems people are going through, or what kind of content they should create in terms of how should they help the people they are targeting as the small business owners?
Chinka, this question has a very simple answer. Okay. All the time we are using Google.
Yeah.
Right?
Right.
So whenever we are putting out our questions, below that, below, when you get your answers, just below that, you will also find what people are asking.
How is it?
Yeah, what people are asking about the same thing that you have written. You have searched, exactly. Based on that, you can find out so much information about what exactly is happening with this kind of question, which is probably coming from a particular type of audience. Okay, so it's really that simple. Put out your questions, and you start seeing, just on Google itself, on the page itself, you will see the alternate questions that start coming up, which are, like, you'll find so many, 3 to 4 questions at least around the same question that you put out. And that's as simple as it can be. You really don't have to use, but of course, if you are interested in using other sites, then there's public. So you can go on to public, and public will also give you information about what people are asking in your topic, in your particular topic. So we could use these things and understand what our our particular target audience's questions are, and what are they asking.
Right. Is Google Trend helpful? Because I've heard that Google Trend also helps us identify what are the trends going on Google search. But when I searched it, I didn't find it that relevant, because I was trying to find out some content idea. But when I looked at trending now, it was irrelevant for me. So do you recommend using Google Trend for identifying the trends?
See, I particularly don't use Google Trends as much. Okay. Another way to find out what kind of trends are going on, depending on what my brand's niche is. Based on that, I search for the kind of content that's being put out either on Instagram or YouTube. What are the competitors doing? What kind of ads are they putting out? What kind of visuals are they putting out? That kind of gives you some idea in terms of what this same target audience is really talking about, or what is it that they really want to get, or they want from your ad or from your product. So that's what I do. That's how my research is.
So you're saying that analyzing your competitor content could also be your reference point, that which content works and which doesn't work, and then you can then design your content strategy accordingly, is it?
Absolutely, absolutely. It's very important to understand what the competitors are doing. Keep them closer, as they say. Keep them closer. Watch what they're doing. Learn from what is really working for them, and use that information. You don't have to completely pick out everything, but pick out 5 pieces of things that are working well for them, and start implementing those in your content.
Right. So you said you also you're also into copywriting, right? I'm working with many people who are creating like copies for landing pages, right? I personally see that they have written a lot of content on those landing pages, and I'm not a fan of like reading through a lot of details, right? But do you think that adding those content, like a huge stuff of text on a landing page or a website, is helpful, or what would you recommend? Because I've seen certain websites which I was just reading through, and it was like
Yeah,
1 hour, and I was just reading through the website.
yeah.
That engaging that copy was, as compared to other landing page, which had a lot of information, but that was not connecting with me. So, how do you define that? What at what point you should add something very interesting and not let the engaging activity of someone who is reading the content should be lost? What? How do you define that?
See, for me, landing pages, of course, they will have a lot of information. Okay, they
Right.
because a person who's landed on that particular page is a person who is curious,
Right.
okay, and also interested.
Right.
Right now, to be able to bring them on board, uh, it's very important to have the information presented to them.
Mm-hmm.
Now there are, I mean, people write lots of stuff on their landing pages, and it is difficult for us to, we don't have that kind of people nowadays, all of us, we don't have that kind of attention span
Right.
to actually pay attention and read something for that long. So what I use is, I make it really simple and put bullet points. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
have a heading, put bullet points, put information in a very short and concise manner.
Right.
Okay, but at the same time use strong catchy phrases. Also at the same time, now when these landing pages are designed, they basically have three different steps when it comes to their funnels. Okay, so the top of the
I
funnel, the
think I
middle of the
lost
funnel,
you,
and the
Batul.
bottom of the funnel.
But by the time she's back, you were talking about what? I lost you for a couple of seconds, Batul, but I
Yeah,
think you're
same
back
here,
now.
same here. I
Can you hear
couldn't
me?
hear you.
So yeah, can we please continue your answer? I mean, I think
Yes, I was talking about, since we are talking about landing pages, so I was talking about different kinds of content, right? Now,
yeah,
there are different ways the funnels are made. Okay,
right.
these landing pages are nothing but funnels, really. Okay, now you have something called as top of the funnel, the kind of information you should be putting out right at the top
Right.
of your page, the middle of the page, and right at the bottom. Okay, let's
Mm-hmm.
begin from the bottom.
Mm-hmm.
Bottom is where the very strong call to action has to be there.
Right.
Okay, uh, bottom should also have testimonials about the products that are being used by the current customers. Okay, some customers are really happy with the product. Okay, middle of the funnel is where your buyer is really interested. I mean, he's not still converted into a buyer, but he's really interested. So middle of the funnel can have some discounts, maybe a couple of quizzes for them to answer, and
Mm-hmm.
get more build their confidence in the brand. And top of the funnel has to be very simple, eye catching, and headlines have to be there. What exactly is this product doing? If you can give a demo about your product, nothing like it, show it
Mm-hmm.
to the to your audience at the top of the funnel. And
Right.
that's how simple it is to design a landing page.
Mm-hmm.
Top of the funnel, keep the middle of the funnel, and bottom of the funnel, keep these three things simple and easy, and not too long.
Right. So not too long. You're specifically recommending that, right? Not too long. So you said that testimonials could be in the mid section or the at the
In the
bottom.
bottom, so we started with the bottom.
Right.
The bottom should have a call to action, because
Mm-hmm.
that's where the person is going to click on that and go on to buy the product.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but
Right.
we are coming from, why we are starting from the bottom is because we all understand this. We've all been to some or the other landing page,
Right.
and at the end we directly scroll down. If we are somebody who's very interested in buying, we'll just come down at the bottom of the page and see
Right.
where is the option to buy.
Correct.
Yeah, so that's exactly where the bottom of the funnel is. And the call to action has to be really strong.
Right.
Get them to click on that link and buy the product, or take them to a page where they can enroll themselves, because not necessarily every landing page is resulting into a buy, right?
Correct. Correct.
Yeah.
So how do you handle objections with the content? Like, for example, if I landed on a page and I want to buy it, but I have specific objections in my mind, ki, whether it'll work for me or not, who is this particular services for, what are the services for, is it going to be helpful for me, right? So do you, when you create the content or a copy for a landing page, do you think about all these objections and then create a content, or it's just specifically talking about your product and services?
See, we will go back to the framework that I told you about: the top of the funnel, the middle of the funnel, and the bottom of the funnel. Now, this
Right,
is
right,
created keeping in mind very specifically that at the top, I'm just introducing my product or my
mhm,
service.
right,
At the middle, I am gaining your attention. I'm holding on to you by giving you some quizzes, by telling you that there are discounts available. You will, if you go on, if you keep moving further and come to the bottom, you will get a 5% discount for being for taking that initiative. Or it could be it's a very very limited offer, only the first 10 buyers are going to get this
right,
offer. And when you come at the bottom, why are you putting testimonials? Because if there is somebody who has these questions in their mind and they're not sure whether this product is going to be doing good for them, or
right,
is it something that they really require, is it something that that will solve their problem, this is where the testimonials come in, right? Because
right.
then they're talking, they're reading from the people who've used these products,
Hmm.
and these people are part of the audience, right? People who they can trust easily.
Right,
And that's how we when we come at the bottom, we've read those testimonials, we've read what people are saying, and somewhere down the line we've kind of felt that, what, let me buy this, I'm going to get a 10% discount,
right,
might as well use this product and see. So that's where, that's what a successful landing page looks like. That is what it should do. It should get the person to come to the call to action.
right. Yeah, I think very valuable information, Batul. I wanted to switch back to your intro when you said that you're also into teaching. Can you talk about that? How did you, got into teaching, and what exactly this is about?
Okay, this is really very interesting, Ajinkya.
Yeah.
um, I was a trainer for almost a decade,
Hmm.
and a corporate trainer, somebody who's who was at a peak of their career, doing really well as a trainer, and worked with quite a few multinationals. And somewhere down the line, there was this that feeling inside me that something is incomplete. I'm still looking out for something that is going to challenge me, that is going to make me connect with the impacts inside me.
Hmm.
Um, and that's when, when I started searching for that, what should I be doing. And when I started searching, I came across this NGO. Should I name it?
Yeah, yeah. Please go ahead.
Okay. They're called Teach for India.
Hmm.
Yeah, and they're quite known. So they're very popular. So now Teach for India, they have a fellowship program,
Right,
and they invite professionals, okay, to take a break, from their career and come and spend 2 years of their life in this fellowship program, where
right,
they do the mentoring, and they give you a particular school where you can walk into that particular school and get a classroom. And we're talking about government schools over here, we're not talking
okay,
about private schools, yeah.
okay,
And that's the program I enrolled myself for. I completed my 2 years fellowship in a government school, and I had 63 kids whom I was teaching. And giving you a little background about the kids that I was teaching, they come from low income backgrounds.
hmm,
Um my particular classroom was they had lots of violent children,
Mhm.
So those 2 years were extremely transformative as a, as an individual for me.
Right.
And very, very, satisfying. Something that, I think that human touch that I was looking for,
Right.
the empath inside me wanted that connection with my roots, and
Right.
I found that in this program. So that's where my teaching career started.
Mhm.
And since then, I do teach. I started teaching little ones now. So I've launched a particular program for, toddlers. Really, it's called Toddlers Training.
All right.
And I'm designing a lot of content for that particular program at this point in time.
Mhm.
And this program is preschoolers. Really, it looks at preschoolers, and before they get ready for school, how can you engage them with learning.
Mhm.
And apart from that, I also do private classes for math, science, English, um, from ages, you could say, 6 onwards up until 10, 11. I could even do greater classrooms depending on the requirements.
Right. So is
That's what
this
my teaching looks like.
you said a preschool training, right? So is it online or is it like in person? How does it work?
To be really honest, toddler training is not something that can be done online,
Mm-hmm.
because we're talking about that age group which requires a lot of attention.
Right.
So when we do toddler training, it's either you will have a classroom of children, a private class setup,
Okay.
or it could be like a one-on-one session with the child itself.
Mm-hmm.
And when we, like, I do one-on-one classes with toddlers, really.
Right.
So either I could have the toddler come to my place, but I would prefer to go to their place, because an environment that they're most comfortable in is the
Correct.
best environment for the child to learn, right?
Right. Right.
Yeah. So that's what really toddler trainings require. They require the teacher to be there in front of them.
So how are parents reaching out to you for their needs, right? I mean, there has to be some process, right, which you've implemented that you are available for these kind of help. How are parents reaching out to you?
For me, this has not been a challenge, Ajinkya, simply because I am a extremely attentive teacher.
Okay.
I'm not I don't want to sound like as if I'm boasting, but
Mhm.
I am somebody who enjoys being around children.
Mhm.
I love to make it a lot of fun for the
Right.
child when the child is learning. Okay.
Right.
And it has to be a very friendly approach. It can't be like I'm your teacher and I'm here to teach, right? It has to be like
Mhm.
I'm your friend, I'm on the same side as you are. And the reason, I mean, for me, it's worked out very easily, simply because I started off in doing private classes in 2020,
Right.
during, I think, just when the lockdowns were lifted.
Right.
And that it so happened that the company that I was working for, so the owners reached out to me, and they were like, we know that you were teaching with Teach for India, right?
Right.
So our kids are not really going to school at this point in time, and everything is like, online right now, and the
Mhm.
kids are little. So that's how it started. I got into teaching for private classes this way, and then
Mhm.
word to mouth, really, because my way of teaching was so much fun,
Right.
that the parents were, they told more people, more of their friends, and pretty much the other parents in the same school, same class. And that's how I started getting more and more
Right.
parents reaching out to me.
Right. So
But
is
then,
your
for other people who are looking to do private classes, there are lots of options online.
right.
They could enroll with the companies online, and they could start taking, private classes online if the age group is slightly, a bigger age group.
Mhm.
But if you're talking about young people, honestly speaking, I think it's best to go to their place.
Mhm.
And how can you reach out to them? Maybe put up your flyers and stuff like that near schools.
Okay, that way.
Yeah, or maybe participate in different teacher training programs that are available.
Right. And do you think that for you, I'm just asking that question. Do you think that if you start your own YouTube channel where you talk about different aspect of toddler training, challenges kids go through, maybe signs to watch out for, where they need help, because these are certain things which parents are not aware of, right? Unaware, and they just ignore it. And maybe when you start creating content as your content creator, you're helping children. Uh, do you think that maybe when you start your YouTube channel, if you think about creating content around this, will also give you a visibility? See, I asked you this question earlier as well.
Ajinkya, believe me, I have been thinking about it since the time we started talking about this,
Right,
and it's been playing on my mind. And I keep thinking, if I have to do this, if I have to start a YouTube channel,
right,
what is it that I would do differently? What is it that what kind of content do I really want to put out? Am I looking at edu creation, that is creating for education specifically? And now that you've spoken about this, it's given me far more clarity that this is something that I could do. So thank you. I'm
yeah,
going to definitely think about this more, maybe do a few brainstorming
yeah,
sessions with you, maybe if
sure,
you're
no,
available.
definitely, definitely,
And
definitely.
yeah, maybe I could then, sit down and actually one day see myself on a YouTube channel.
Yeah, it's not a big deal of creating a YouTube channel though. But like I said, you have that content creator mindset, right? You have that affection towards children, right? So I think if you merge those and marry those thought process, I think the content which come out, which will resonate with. See, the only thing is that people who are watching your channel are not mostly kids, are mostly parents,
Right, right.
right? And they are the decision maker, right? So I think you have to think about how do you create that content, like you said,
Mm.
right? In that AIDA framework where you create your attention that, oh yeah, here I am. This is what I'm going to talk about. This is not something which I'm going to tell you to teach kids, but these are the things you should be aware of, right? So I think there are
Right.
certain things which you can start, but I think it's really important for anyone who's creating a content to understand, like you said, what exactly you are trying to give the value. See, what I always talk about is don't try to push things which you want to give. Try to give things what people wants, right? So
Absolutely.
I've seen
Absolutely.
many people, they just talk about their product, their services, but they don't talk about, okay, this is what you're going to get, this is the benefit, this is what exactly you're struggling,
Right.
and this is how you're going to solve the problem. So I think that's what a content is about. And I think you agree to that as well. So my question to you again about the teaching stuff, right? What made you take that decision to move out of a corporate life and getting into teaching? Like, is there one thing you can think about that made you take that decision?
I think somewhere down the line, Ajinkya, for me, it was starting to get very, very dehumanized.
Hmm.
When I say dehumanized, the corporate sector, we are referring to people as FTEs, you
Right,
know. So we're talking about what is it that they can do, and how much profit will I make out of them.
right.
And that is an environment which kind of became a little bit, can I use the word toxic,
Yeah, definitely.
for the lack of the better word? um, it kind of get started getting toxic. Not that financially, or for that matter professionally, I wasn't doing well. I was doing really well, but keeping aside these aspects, I was looking out for something that would keep me connected to my human side, keep me
Right,
connected to my emotions, stop making me think about people as how much profit can I make out of them.
right,
Yeah. And just for the sake of interaction, um I kind of wanted that interaction to be more special, more
mm,
human, more understanding what is exactly bothering them, what's happening, what are their problems, stuff like that, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that's where kind of that got me out of the corporate sector. That was where the thinking started.
Right. Is
the,
it
the,
is it
the deep churning.
Yeah, is it easy to teach these kids, which you said that these kids are like from a specific category, which is like below poverty line. And when I think about these kids, the environment they are in right now, apart from the school, is really tough, right? Do you find it tough to teach these kids, or what is your experience about it?
See, it's not going to be easy.
Mm-hmm.
It's definitely not going to be easy. We've had it easy when it comes to studying in private schools.
Right,
Okay. And you won't believe, but it is true. It's a fact that 90% of Indian population do not get private schooling.
true.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So we belong to that 10% who've got private schooling, who've been able to have that, where our parents were able to afford the fees of the school and have a environment where we were learning.
Right.
But when it comes to my particular experience with this government school that I was teaching in, okay,
Mm-hmm.
um, I use the word violent with children. Okay, it's a very
Mm-hmm.
harsh word to use for children. Okay, but unfortunately, that's where I began. Okay, I walked into a classroom full of kids who are throwing their shoes at the teacher,
Oh, really?
not interested in learning. They're jumping and shouting. They're standing up on their on the tables, banging their heads on the table and stuff like that. So this is the kind of environment that I started out in.
Mm-hmm.
And it took me, I think the first 6 months was all about me coming back home and crying and thinking, why did I even do this? Or why was I, what was I thinking?
Mm-hmm.
But slowly and gradually, there was this rapport that was built between me and the kids.
Right.
And then I started see the part of what I was doing also in what wanted required this involvement from my side, where I would go to their houses and really see how they're living.
Right.
And once you start interacting with their parents and start seeing the kind of life they're leading, there's lots of empathy. You walk
Right.
into the classroom with a lots of empathy, for
True.
that child. Ajinkya, you won't believe, I used to have children who used to not be able to concentrate because they haven't had any meals.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And when you come to know about this, I think as a teacher, you stop asking the question, why is the child not learning? And you start asking, what is it that I can do to ensure that the child is well fed? And
Right.
in that situation, at least interested in coming to school.
True. Any incident you remember which will always be there with you as a learning, while you're doing these kind of, noble act towards, the community. Do you want to share one of the incidences or anything which will be, uh, you know, helpful?
There are a few incidences, but one specifically that stands out was a very that was like a little bit difficult for me to even express. So I'll take you back to that classroom of 63 children,
Right.
and just another usual day where I'm talking about a particular topic. I think it was math, and I was busy solving it, and I turned my back just for a couple of seconds, from my class, and I was paying attention to the board, the blackboard. And within that minute or two, what happened was a fight break broke out in my classroom.
Oh, really?
And one boy, he picked up the geometry box. You have a compass, so he picked that
Hmm.
up and he took the pointed side of that and actually hit the other child on the head. And this happened within a minute or two, and this little boy started bleeding profusely. And I remember, in that panic situation, holding on to that child in my arms and running, walking down the staircase, literally like, breezing down the staircase of my school,
Right.
and ran to the nearest clinic to help this child. But luckily, nothing happened, and it was just a superficial wound, and everything was okay. But yeah, that was a very, very, I was deeply shaken after this incident, and started feeling that somewhere, the presence of mind as a teacher needs to be far more, present. You need to be so much more attentive, especially when you're dealing with the children that I was dealing with. So that was a very big learning for me too.
Yeah, I think this was something which even I got a goosebumps when I was listening to that, and I'm imagining that situation when you were in. Oh gosh, that's really scary, right? Because
Yeah,
at that
very
point of
scary.
time, you don't even know what exactly you should do. The first instinct is I pick up that kid and run towards the clinic, which was something which you did. So yeah, I think some great experiences. I think, but I think that might also give you some satisfaction that you're helping these kids, right? What is your a satisfactory moment which you always feel good, and that's why you go back to the school back. Is there anything which you want to share as well?
See, I use the word transformation at the earlier stage of this conversation. Now, what was the transformation really? For me, the biggest transformation was that I started understanding the human aspects of people.
Right,
Okay. I started understanding that, not everybody is as, um, can we say, well to do as we are. We
right,
don't want to look at everybody in that same lens. We
right,
started seeing what is it that we can do to help people out. Okay.
right.
And coming back to the transformation bit today, now this particular fellowship happened, I think 2016 is when I started.
Mm-hmm.
And my kids were then, I think, 11 years old. And when I left, they were about 13. And today, at this point in time, they're all grown up,
Right,
and I'm in touch with them, and they
very
call
nice.
me, and they talk to me about their girlfriend problems. And the girls talk about how boys want their attention and stuff like that. And this kind of bonding has happened. So from a teacher to a friend,
Right.
somebody who's going to be there, a mentor maybe, who's going
Mm-hmm.
to listen to them and going to
Right.
guide them what they should be doing.
True.
And that's what really it is,
Yeah, I know.
building a connection for life.
I know that that's a great bond you always, look out for when you start connecting with people and when you start giving out value to others, and that's what it connects, right? So I think yeah, some great experiences I would say, and I think I want to talk about something which is specifically for you and your teaching and your content and social media management thing. Anybody who wants to reach out to you, how should they reach out to you? Like, is there a way, like a website or a Instagram handle or anything? How should they reach out to you?
See, I have a very optimized LinkedIn profile now.
Hmm.
So anyone who can come on to LinkedIn and message me on LinkedIn what it is that they want me to help them out with. If you read the about section, I also would love to encourage, budding writers, people who are
Hmm.
wanting to publish their books and stuff.
Right.
They could get me to do their proofreading.
Okay.
Yeah, because I am also an author,
Okay.
and I have published two poetry books of
Okay.
my own,
Hmm.
and something that I'm really proud of, and I'm very, very happy that it's out there.
Very nice.
And poetry is not a genre that everyone is willing to read or write, and I have, experimented with that.
Yeah.
So I'm really happy about that. But yeah, for people to reach out to me, LinkedIn is one of the best, and also something that I am most often on. So easily I will be able to look at the messages and answer. But
Yeah.
if somebody who's not on LinkedIn, but they're maybe on Instagram, I have my own personal, profile out there. It's called Gypsy Heart
Okay.
Always. And maybe that's something I could share on LinkedIn for them, for
Yeah.
anyone who wants to reach out to me.
Right.
And they could also see what the kind of content that I have been putting out for myself. You know,
Right.
it's out there. So yeah, and yeah, my website is, it's ready. It's Creative Pathways. it's almost ready. It's just got some a little bit of tweaking here and there for
Right.
creative pathways, and that's going to be up and running very soon. And that information will be available on LinkedIn as well in a very short period of time.
Sure. Yeah, I think LinkedIn has some limitations. Unless you connect with a person, you can't send a message. I think that is something which we'll have to look out for, because then people have to connect with you and then start raising the question. And I think that's where people step back, that should I send you a connection or not? Or maybe my personal preference would be, maybe I'll directly send you a message and ask whether you'll be able to help
Yeah.
me or not. So I think that could be managed in terms of if you share your Instagram information on your LinkedIn page, so that people can go through your about section and
Or you know
immediately.
what? Yeah, I mean, my email address is
Yeah,
also a very, very convenient way,
yeah, yeah,
and it should avoid other, hassles of going onto any of these apps if people don't want to do that.
yeah.
Just write to me, on my email address is pretty much very simple. My first name dot last name. There's a number 4 in there because that's my lucky number
Okay,
at gmail.com. So that's batul.katawala 4 at gmail.com.
okay,
And that is available on LinkedIn all as well.
okay.
So yeah.
That's perfect. I think that's the best way to communicate. So anyone who wants to reach out to Buttle for content creation, proofreading, social media management, teaching kids, right? Pre-primary, I believe, right? Anyone who wants to reach out for all different kind of services, please reach out to Batul. I'm going to share her details in the video, and I'm going to also share all the details how you can reach out to her, what all things she can help you with. And if you have any questions, directly connect with her on LinkedIn and ask your questions. She has a website available soon. So maybe you can start posting questions there. I think that's the right way to reach out to her. And I'm really, really glad, Batul, to have you on this podcast today. And thank you for your time today and giving such valuable life lessons, and something which is very important for small business owners to understand what content is. For me, content is king, but there are so many people who doesn't understand what content can do for their business. And today you have explained it really well with the frameworks and with your experiences. So I'm really, really glad, and I really thank you for joining today's podcast. And I really want to say that this is something very great happened to you. It happened to us on this podcast, where we have two, three different aspect of content, where I say your life experience with teaching and your great experiences about with the kids. I think I was like enjoying the discussion, and it was really great. Thank you for coming today.
Ajinkya, thank you so much. Yeah, it was such a pleasure talking to you. I mean, you are someone who's putting out some excellent ideas and content, and you're actually an inspiration for so many people, and you've become one for me too. I looked at your YouTube content, and it's excellent, and it's so inspiring for me. You made me start to think about the things that I could do. So great work, Ajinkya. Lovely, being here today for your podcast. Thank you so much. And yeah, be invincible.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you very much. And you have a great day, Badal. Thank you. Bye bye.
Okay.